Hey friends, and welcome to the Ponds Farmhouse. I'm Rachel, and I'm here today to share a fun Christmas DIY with you. I have been out gathering some of these oblong pine cones from our woods around the house here. And what I want to do is show you how I'm going to turn these into a whimsical, rustic Christmas tree scene. I'm planning to use this as a centerpiece on a table, but it could be used on a mantel, it could be used on a coffee table, just anywhere that you would like to have a really rustic look. One of the things I'm going to be using is this piece of wood that we gathered where some trees have been cut down, and we just cut it to the length that we wanted it. So this is going to be the base of our design. And then I'm going to be using several different things to create this. I've got my hot glue gun. We're actually going to be cutting off the tips of these so that the tree will look like this. And we're going to add some sticks to it to give it some height. Some of them will be applied just directly to the wooden base. And we're actually going to add some snow to it, and I have some little rustic star tree toppers for it. So I think it's going to turn out to be really, really cute. So if it sounds like something you'd like to see finished, I hope you'll stick with me and we'll get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is go ahead and cut away the tip end of the pine cone. And so I'm just going to take these little pruning shears and we're just going to get right in there. So they're a little tough sometimes to break off, but this one's doing pretty good. So we're going to get all of that out of there so that we've got a really good base here to put our stick in. So I'm going to kind of separate that a little bit. And I've already kind of cut one of the sticks that I'm going to use. These are just out of my yard, things that have fallen off of the trees. So it's just quick and easy. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and add hot glue in here. And we're just going to kind of fill that little area up with hot glue. And then apply the stick. Just stick it down in there. And now, you do need to hold this until it sets. One of the things that I like to do is go ahead and get it in here and then add a little bit more hot glue around it because you really want it to adhere firmly. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit more hot glue all around the edges of it there. And then we're just going to hold it until it has time to adhere. And it usually takes a few minutes because the hot glue is hot. And once it sets up though, then it's going to be secure. We also got all these little strings on it. So as you can see, it's kind of holding steady here, which is nice. I'm going to find a place now to hold this, to set this so that it can continue to dry. And then once it's dry, we're going to go ahead and embellish our pine cone here. Okay, I'm going to be leaving some of my pine cones just flat. I've already cut the tip off of it, and we're just going to be using these. We're going to actually apply them directly to the wooden base without any sticks in them. And then we have, because we're wanting some variety of heights. And then we have several that we're using with the different heights. So we'll have different heights here. The first thing that I want to do is go ahead and embellish this with a star. And I have some of these little rusty stars that I have picked up, use them for different crafts. I love to use them at Christmas time. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the star on there first. And so we're going to just add some hot glue right here and then place the star on. And you can see this is kind of going to be whimsical looking because it's setting kind of sideways, as you can see here, when it dries. And then the next thing I want to do is give it a snowy effect. So let me show you what I'm going to do with that. What I have here is some of the lightweight spackling, and you definitely want to use lightweight. And then what you want to do is you want to mix that with water. And I've already added a little bit of water. You don't want too much. What you want to do is have a consistency about like mayonnaise when you mix the water with the spackling. This may be a little thick. We may have to add a little bit more water. We'll see. You just don't want to overdo it. And it's not going to take a whole lot for this project, so I didn't want to mix up too much. So this is looking pretty good so far. Just get it good and smooth. You don't want it to have any lumps in it, because this is going to look like snow on our pine cone trees. Okay, I think I could use just a smidgen more water. Let me mix it just a little bit more and see. There's a little bit of water still in the bottom here. Okay, I think we're pretty good now. I think this is going to be just about perfect. You can kind of see it, kind of like whipped cream or mayonnaise, so that it's not running, but not so thick that you can't kind of move it around. And then what I'm going to do is take my little brush here, and we're just going to pick a little bit of this up, and we're just going to start tipping the ends. Now, one thing I do like about this pine cone is that it already has a little bit of that effect on it, and some of them more than others, but we want to enhance it. So what I'm trying to do is just kind of like scrape a little bit off just on the tips of what would be the branches of a tree. And that way, let's see, we'll put a little bit even on the star itself. Give it a little light there. But what you want to do is you want to just pretend like, you know, the snow has tipped the edges of this tree. And when the spackling dries, it will dry very, very hard, and you won't have any trouble with it whatsoever. So you can kind of see, just get a little bit on your brush and just kind of scrape it down on the ends. It doesn't take much to get it covered, and you don't want it to be the same everywhere because, you know, naturally the snow's not going to fall like that. So this is going to be quick and easy. Just kind of get the hang of it. Just brush down. Okay, see how quick and easy that was to give the tree a little bit of a frosted look, like it's out in the wilderness in wintertime. Okay, so now we've got that first tree done, and we're going to go ahead and do the rest of them with the spackling. And then we're going to start assembling them on the wooden branch that we've cut. So hang on, we're going to be right back. Okay, now that all of my trees are dry, we are ready to assemble. And I've already started, what I did was I put one at both ends to begin with. And then we're just going to start filling in around that. And the ones that have the twigs attached, you will need to drill a hole for those. And I had to use a pretty large drill bit for this. But just drill down about a quarter to a half an inch. You don't need a deep hole for this. They're not heavy, so they're not going to fall. And then you just want to add a little bit of hot glue into that hole before you apply the twig to it. Once you put your twig in, you just want hold it there until it's steady. Make sure it's standing up straight. Oh, and another thing you want to make sure you're doing is that you've got your tree branch set where it's steady and that it's not going to roll around. That's important. Mine has a little bit of a curve in it, so it's pretty steady as it is. But then what you want to do is after you get your kind of your base started, this is going to be kind of creative on your own part. You're going to fill in around those taller trees with the smaller ones. And these, I'm just applying the hot glue right to the scales of the pine cone and then pressing it down onto the wood. You'll notice that some of the trees have the stars on them, some don't. I just kind of mixed them all in. I have about, I think 13 or 14 trees in the end on my branch, and so it just depends on the size of your pine cones and the size of the tree branch that you're using, how many you're going to need. But it's a lot of fun just to kind of stand back and look at it and figure out where you want to place each one of the pine cones. So I'll show you a little bit more detail here. We'll turn it to where you can see it a little bit better. This one doesn't have a branch on it, or a twig on it, so it's just going to go directly onto the tree branch. And you just have to hold it a little bit. I just press it down pretty firmly, making sure that all of the scales are getting attached to the wood. You don't want it to come loose. You could also, if you're concerned about it, the stability of it, you could put a little E6000 on there first and then put your hot glue on it, and then that way you've got even a more secure process there. But see, I'm wanting to put a taller tree here, so it's going to be necessary to go ahead and drill another hole. What I have found is that you don't want to drill your holes first because you might not like the design. And so I just kind of assembled from one end to the other and just filled in as I went, instead of trying to do this all at one time. It's just almost impossible to know exactly where you want your holes to be drilled. So as you can see, I'm just kind of eyeballing it, making sure it's where I want it, and then go ahead and drill that hole. This one's a little bit on the side, so I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting it started, but as you can see, you just keep holding it firm, and eventually you'll get a good grip on it and press down hard and go ahead and get your hole drilled. And just remember to always put the hot glue in there as well, because the hole may not be exactly the size you need, but if you have the hot glue in there, it will keep your tree steady. So let's go ahead and finish this out, and I'll show you what it looks like as we decorate our table with it and other areas of the house. I think it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous arrangement. I'm loving it so far, so let's get started.